Hello and welcome back everybody, Interjection here with what would have been my 30th Age of Empires 3 1v1 commentary, but unfortunately, just as I was about to reach 1,000 YouTube subscribers, I had to go ahead and make a brand new channel, and this would be the 5th game on that channel, and today I bring you a truly excellent game. It was played during PK Clan Tournament 3, and is in my opinion, one of the best games played there, and one of the one of the most entertaining games there. And I'm going to turn the view lock off, so we're going to take a look at what Blue is doing right here. I'll introduce the players in a moment, but this is pretty cool. As you can see, he's shooting the bear, and it's not really attacking him, and that's because, as you can see, he's going to run away from the bear, and he'll get just far away enough from the treasure for the bear to no longer target him. Once you get far away enough from a treasure, the treasure guardians will run back towards the treasure, and just as the bear was running back towards the treasure, Blue decided to shoot at it and get a few free shots off, which is a very good technique. It's called creeping, and it's what higher level players will do to try and grab some of the big beefy treasures on the map very quickly, very easily, without taking too much damage. And as you can see, he just get 100 XP from that treasure, and it pretty much instantly gave him his first shipment here. We're going to see 3 settlers rolling around any second now. There it is. And well, XP in Age of Empires 3, obviously you see this green bar. Every time you train a unit, you get some XP. If you build a building, you get some XP, or if you get a 100 XP treasure like this beast here. Now he's creeping a 90 food treasure, as you can see, but yes, that XP makes this green bar jump up, and then when it gets to the top, you get a shipment, and that is obviously what XP does in Age of Empires 3. So, yes, we'll introduce the players now. Obviously, this is Blue. MusketJr, a very good player. Would say his best civilization is Dutch, I don't know, but we'll take a look over here. DarwinGeovany, and I can say with confidence that this guy here, just grabbing himself a 90 coin treasure, taking quite a lot of damage on that explorer there. We'll take a look at the treasures he's found. 135 wood, that's quite nice. That explains why he has taken so much damage. Obviously, he had to kill 2 outlaw riflemen to get the basswood treasure, but well worth it there. Obviously, managed to get himself 135 wood. Wood is a very nice resource to get. 80 food there, also guided by 2 outlaw riflemen. Doesn't look like there's enough hit points for that treasure, but perhaps he will go in and get that in a moment. But yes, I'll introduce this player now. This is DarwinGeovany in red, and I can say with confidence that, well, at least in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure this is a pretty solid opinion, that he is the best Russian player, the best player who can play with the Russian civilization. Not that he himself is Russian, but playing with Russia, the best player in the game for this civilization. Both of these players have a very high elo rating, but yes, 300 wood just arrived from DarwinGeovany's home city there. Did not send the settlers like MusketJr. Obviously, we'll take a look at MusketJr's deck here. You see 3 settlers, and they almost all players will send that as their first shipment, because the extra gatherers from the very beginning of the game, obviously you get them so quickly, plus that XP managed to let him get them even quicker. The amount of resources they generate over the course of the game is absolutely staggering. He's got the age up in Q, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Obviously, MusketJr clicking up to the colonial age. We'll go back to Darwin though and talk about the 300 wood. And the reason he hasn't spent his shipment on settlers is because Russia cannot send settlers. That is not part of Russia. Russia cannot send settlers from their home city, so he's chosen to send 300 wood instead. And with that, he could either be very aggressive, he could build a forward blockhouse, we'll turn fog of war off. Obviously, Russia can train blockhouses in Age 1, build them in Age 1, and that means as soon as he reaches Age 2, he could start training units from it. He could put a blockhouse up here, right next to Blue's base, but looks like, by the looks of things here, he's building a dock on the coast, and with that wood, so perhaps we'll see another dock go up. So you have 2 docks there, and perhaps we'll see his next shipment will be the schooners card, which obviously decreases the cost of fishing boats by 60%. That means instead of costing 100 wood, boats, fishing ships will cost 40 wood instead of 100, which is obviously much cheaper and a very nice card if you want to go on the water. Obviously, that second dock going up there, but we'll switch back to MusketJr. But before we do, we'll take a look at this politician. He's going up with the quartermaster. MusketJr. also going up with the quartermaster. Yes, he is. There it is. 400 wood now on the floor, and he's also got his first bank up. Obviously, during transition to the colonial age, he put some settlers on wood, had some on food, and got 350 wood, 350 food, and popped up that first bank, which obviously generates quite a lot of coin. A bank generates the same amount of coin as 4 settlers permanently on coin that obviously cannot be raided, killed. They never stop gathering, they don't have to move to new coin mines, etc, etc. But he's aged up with 400 wood here, and with that wood I imagine we'll see another bank go up. His first shipment here is 700 wood, which is enough wood for 2 more banks. but then perhaps he won't build all. He might just build 3 banks and have some wood left over with which he could build a barracks and with which he could build a market, or some other buildings, etc, etc. We'll take a look at Darwin. Just 700 wood just arriving for Musket there. That second bank going up. But we'll take a look at Darwin, as I just said. Fishing boats in queue, so training lots of fishing boats. These first 2 are about to be produced. There it is. The fishing boom has begun, everybody. He's collecting up his 400 wood, and he's built a blockhouse with it. So he's got a nice amount of wood, building a blockhouse as well, but playing very defensively here with the blockhouse. It's obviously in his base, just in front of this herd, just in front of, behind this one, protecting these huntable animals as well. But yes, a lot of Russian players will be very aggressive, but today we do not see that at all. Instead, we see a different Russian playstyle, and this is a boomy playstyle on the map. New England, obviously, you do have the water down the side of this map here, where all the fish are, as you can see. Got the Dutch home city spawn point for the water there, and here. I'm going to talk about this map now because this is possibly my second favourite map next to Great Plains. I don't know, there's something about Great Plains, but this map is just one of those iconic Age of Empires 3 maps because it looks like the New World. It's not a bayou, it's not the swamp, it's not some like desert area. This is like a nice map. It's littered with treasures which make the early game really nice, and it's got these lakes, which mean obviously these home city spawn points. This Russian flag could be moved onto this lake here, and obviously he's got what's it in his deck? 2 caravels in there. He's got a frigate in there. We can see warships being placed on the water, which makes a little bit of cheesing going on. It can be very entertaining. This map is a nice map, in my opinion. So what do we see? 700 wood now on the way. That's his 3rd shipment. Going to quickly take a look at MusketJr and see what he is up to. Has sent 600 wood as well by the looks of it. That is no longer lit up. So we can see he, with that wood, I imagine he will build all 4 banks. There's the 4th one going up. 4 bank fast fortress here, plus the market there as well. Absolutely a great strategy for the Dutch. A very, very boomy strategy. And then I imagine now we see 700 food on the way. So I'm pretty sure this player obviously going to get all 4 banks up and then rush to the fortress age as quickly as he can, so that he can use this crazy economy he's just built. Very strong economy for the Dutch player here. As you can see, his score is 82 and red score is 56. Obviously, Russian scores are usually lower than other players' scores. That is just typically how Russia work. Not that they're worse, it's just the score is always slightly lower than other civilizations. But, that's not the point. The MusketJr here is steamrolling ahead with these crazy banks. 700 food about to arrive, and obviously then we'll see him head up to the Fortress Age, I think. Perhaps not, though, but I'm pretty sure. Because then once he's in the Fortress Age, you can see here, he's got all these nice cards. A lot of his Fortress Age cards do look like unit shipments here. We do see a few upgrades, and there is a frigate in there as well. But 9 Reuters, 4 Hussars, 8 Skirmishes. Going to help him out in the Fortress Age, give him a nice early game advantage. Well, not an early game advantage, but, a military advantage is what I meant to say. And then, obviously, can push this Russian player who is booming, and maybe we'll see how that turns out for him. But we'll switch back to Darwin, so we can see some Red Musketeers there. Go back to the Red Musketeers. They are coming in. We're going to turn Fog of War on so we can see what they can see. And they're coming in to try and kill some settlers. Perhaps they'll kill that envoy, no. But as you can see over here, he's just scouting out with his explorer. Can see the settlers up there. Perhaps he'll head that way, but he's coming in. Perhaps he's going to kill a settler here. He's going to shoot. Is he going to shoot? You didn't quite manage to kill it. Obviously, MusketJr being very quick on the ball, getting them in his town centre there. But obviously, Red can push down here. He knows that Blue won't have any military units yet because Blue is, as you can see, he's just aged up. I missed that. He must have aged up with the Exiled Prince, which is a politician which allows you to age up very quickly. But he's got settlers in a town centre, and then he's called his Minutemen. So obviously, with the settlers in the town centre, it does ranged damage to the Musketeers, and these Minutemen also being called to do ranged damage as well, and quickly going from 10 Musketeers to 2, and it is questionable, Darwin, if that was really worth it, but obviously he could have killed some settlers, and then it would have definitely been worth it. But yes, wow, I didn't notice. Back to MusketJr, aged up like a beast here. Didn't even notice him age up. Must have been the Exiled Prince, which is obviously, it gets the age up very, very quickly. You age up super quickly, but you do not actually receive any bonus upon aging up. Has built 2 stables here, and he seems to got 1 Reuter in each stable, which to me suggests he's going to be massing Reuters for the early part of the game. Perhaps he'll ship some skirmishes, because obviously a Reuter mass on its own. Reuters are very cheap. They only cost they cost 1 population slot each, and they are basically, they cost almost just slightly more than half of what a regular dragoon would be, which is the normal unit. Obviously, Dutch cannot train dragoons. Instead, they get Reuters. Reuters are a very fast-moving ranged cavalry unit, which are good against other cavalry. But as you can see here, this first he's got 10 here are going to run off. Perhaps they'll get some raids in, kill some settlers, and a little bit of early harassment. But on their own, I don't think he can win the game. So you can see, okay, an artillery foundry going up. Perhaps he's going to mix in. I was expecting some barracks. Obviously, he's just shipped 1,000 wood from his home city. I was expecting some barracks, train some skirmishes, but no, instead we're going for an artillery foundry, and it looks like we're going to be training probably falconets from that. Falconet Reuter mass, that's nice, that's pretty cool. We're going to see falconets, falconet hype. I guess for the Age of Empires 2 fans, we can compare falconets to the Mangonel or the Siege Onager, but not entirely sure. Don't play that game competitively. I do like watching Zero Empires cast it though. But 2 caravels on the way for the red player, for MusketJr. Take a look at his deck. He's sent obviously 300 wood, schooners, 700 wood, and then he sent rendering plant by the looks of it. Yes, rendering plant was sent. Fishing boat changes work rate by 30% for both food gathering from fish and coin gathering from whales. That's nice. Using his musketeers here to kill off the treasure guardians here so that he can get that treasure. But, blue now coming in. We'll take a look if he gets any settler kills, and perhaps he can. Going to shoot, yes, 1 settler down. But, yeah, red sent these 2 caravels, to protect his fishing mass. Doesn't have any kind of protection here other than this blockhouse, which has a nice anti-ship damage, but other than that, nothing. So these two caravels here coming in to protect them. Obviously, these boats can fish as well, should they choose to. And they can also get involved in any land fighting as well. Obviously, they've got a nice broadside attack. They're coming in here. Perhaps we'll see that in action. Going to use their special attack on the Reuters there, getting some damage off. These caravels doing damage against the land units. Very powerful, actually. They're kind of just, with a ranged attack of 75. That's essentially like... what's it like? It's kind of like a falconet. Doesn't have the same area damage or quite the same amount of damage, nor the same multipliers, but, nice bombard damage. Not that a bombard damage does particularly much damage to Reuters because, well, they're cavalry. Cannon's always more effective against infantry, but we all know this. So, yes, we're still looking at Darwin. 2 falconets just popped out for MusketJr, but we are looking at Darwin here. Training Strelets has a very large infantry mass, so obviously we'll switch back to MusketJr. Just before we go, though, we can see here, over here, he's getting the log flume upgrade, upgrading lots of things at his market, being very, economy focused, very boom focused. Still this big massive boats. Anyway, back to MusketJr. here. He is training. He's got 8 more Reuters there. Lots of Reuters there. 9 Reuters being sent from his home city shipment, and as a home city shipment, right? So it's a huge Reuter mass, and the 2 falconets here, and obviously. Falconets very, very weak to melee damage. If we take a look at their statistics, they have 200 hit points, which means they can easily be focused down, but they resist 75% of range damage. So all of these infantry doing their range damage will only, 75% of that will be completely negated. Oh my god, these falconets taking out weak Russian infantry. Obviously, Russian infantry does not cost... musketeers, obviously, they do not cost as much as a regular musketeer. Any other civilization's musketeer is more expensive, but to offset that, Russian units are weaker, so cheaper and weaker, which is kind of nice. You can get more of them, but it's just how it is. Not that really it's an advantage, it's just a change really. But these 2 falconets are going to cause big problems for him, almost bringing down this blockhouse. Because, well, obviously falconets doing 100 bombard damage, I believe it is ×3 versus infantry, and all DarwinGeovany has is infantry. He is being very... Okay, I just see a town centre going up over here. Blue building a town centre over here, securing some map control on this side. Obviously, he's got this covered with his army. Darwin cannot collect this way, cannot go this way, and he's secured this hump here and this coin mine, restricting the late game resources for red. But we'll take a look at this fight here. Looks like blue has... Oh, he's trained a culverin. Sorry, no, red has changed a culverin. We'll switch back to DarwinGeovany. He's trained a culverin, shipped 2 falconets from his home city. I did not notice this. Was not looking at him. Was looking at Musket, bringing down both of those falconets. And now MusketJr. has a huge mass of Reuters, which he really can't do a lot with. Obviously, these Reuters, I guess they're all right against musketeers, but musketeers are stronger. They stand up much better. Strelets also stand up very well against Reuters, so he's going to need more falconets. Only got the 1 there, which we see anymore. We'll switch back to MusketJr. So you see 1 in production, and obviously he's got his economy set up for producing cannons. He has also got the arsenal there, which to me suggests he got the ranged cavalry carousels for the increased range on his Reuters. But we'll go back to Darwin, and we'll talk about MusketJr. in a moment. We can see he's still coming in there, lots of Reuters, and just the 1 falconet, but Red has a Culverin. Culverin is another artillery unit which has a much longer range than a Falconet and does bonus damage against Falconets. It actually is an artillery unit which counters other artillery, and obviously Red has a Falconet of his own, though it is low hit points. MusketJr, give it to him here, did a good job of focusing down Red's cannons, bringing down one cannon and bringing down the second one to half health. But that, another Falconet gone down for Blue. Red doing a good job of defending here, just an infantry mass, and then, on the ball there, getting to the fortress here. I didn't even notice him go to the fortress age either. He must have aged up with the, not necessarily, but I think he might have aged up with the age up fast option as well, because this is why we see him in the fortress age, and he's obviously then able to build an artillery foundry and actually train cannons from it, and obviously ship these units here. We'll take a look at, we'll do a little bit of deck analysis in a moment on his deck. As you can see here, training Oprechniks from the stable. Oprechniks are cavalry, melee cavalry that have a very, very large siege damage and they do a lot of damage versus settlers. Because it's just a unique raiding cavalry unit. But here, calling his Minutemen. Yet Red still focusing down this town centre with the Oprechniks' crazy siege damage. That Falconet also bombarding down the town centre. They're going to bring that down, trying to reclaim some of the map and push back out, but it looks like this fight is lost for Red despite that cannon. Cannons aren't very effective against cavalry. Blue has Minutemen here, which he has called from his town centre. Obviously, they are units, very strong units, which are very cheap. They do lose hit points over time, kind of like mercenaries in Age of Mythology, but, you don't really want to fight Minutemen. You don't get XP for killing them. Very strong, very cheap, etc., etc. As you can see, Blue has won that fight there, bringing in some more hussars. I believe he shipped some hussars as well. So yes, but see a fort coming up for Red here. So Red's shipping a fort wagon, kind of like a castle, I guess, in Age of Empires 2. But he's going to put that up and he's going to secure some kind of. He's popping it up here, wants to kind of protect his base a little bit. Perhaps he is feeling very pressured right now, and as you can see, he is training cavalry archers from the stable. Perhaps he's concerned about the veteran hussars. Obviously, Blue now has hussars as well, which do a very good job of countering these strelets. Strelets very weak to hussars, and we've also got Reuters in there as well. Blue has some more culverins of his own. We see obviously those Minutemen coming in. Looks like Red really struggling here. That fort is kind of needed. We'll switch back to MusketJr and see what he is up to. 8 skirmishes on the way. Gonna keep this push up. Really pushing into Blue here. Sorry, into Red here. Really pushing. 2 more Falconets. 8 skirmishes. How long can you keep this defense up, Red? Obviously you have got a fort there, which is nice, but and 2 culverins for Blue. So any more artillery from Red is going to be not so good unless he can get some more culverins of his own out. We'll switch back to DarwinGeovany, now sending cavalry combat, and we'll take a look at his deck analysis here. As you can see, he has got some more kind of late game upgrades in here. We see Strelic combat increases all action damages and hit points by 15%, same for cavalry, but increases by 10%. We do see Falconets there, but Falconets are very good. You can't just not have Falconets in your deck, but lots of more later game kind of upgrades in here, whereas if we compare it to MusketJr's deck, we see very aggressive kind of 9 Reuters, 4 hussars, 8 skirmishes, which he has sent. He has sent the cavalry combat upgrade as well. Military unit shipments for Blue, which is going to help him push out, and as you can see, still pushing out. Red doing a good job of defending here, though. Staying in the game. Obviously, Blue can't get too close to that fort. There is a fort up here. A town centre going up behind his base. So, in the midst of this fight, and, all of this combat, he still has the resources to spend on a second town centre to keep his boom going, and perhaps we'll see the Russian, obviously these two economies, actually very difficult to compare these economies. I'll show you why in a moment. We're just taking a look at this fight. Who's going to win this one? Well, there is a Falconet set up there, so Red is going to take heavy damage. Obviously, Falconet's doing crazy damage to Strelets, which have very low hit points. Very, very low hit points and attack, but they are very, very cheap, and you can mass a lot of them. Lots of cavalry archers in there, skirmishes as well. Looks like, though, Blue has this fight, and 10 Reuters on the way, and a frigate being shipped as well. A frigate, obviously, I imagine it's going to land on this pond. His home city spawn point still is over here, but I imagine he'll change it. It's going to be on the pond here, and we'll have a frigate doing offshore damage versus Red as well. Honestly, Red does not look like in the best kind of shape at the moment, but take a look at Darwin, see what's coming. You see Boyars on the way now, increases Strelets, Cossacks, and Oprechniks attack and hit points by 10%. So still sending these later game upgrades. It looks like Darwin, and building mills. He's obviously the food on the water is run out. He has to collect. He can only collect coin from the whales now. There is no food left from the fish, and you know, having to gather from mills, lots of costly wood investments whilst all this pressure is going on, and really also sending, you know, these late game kind of these upgrades which will affect him more late game. Obviously, if you send a shipment of 9 Reuters, you get that immediately, and you can use that to gain an advantage over your opponent instantly. But obviously, these kind of upgrades don't really pay off. You don't really see them do very much until, you know, they really, the benefit is there, but you don't really notice it until later on in the game. So kind of late game things, but you know, despite that, building mills in the back of his base. Obviously, Blue is now building another town center here, reclaiming some of that map control. That frigate now on the water here, doing some offshore damage on the houses. But yes, whilst that is going on. Okay, and I am back. Sorry about that, I actually can't remember what I was saying. But down to the south of the map, we see 2 outposts going up. These have a very good anti-ship damage. As you can see here, it does 100 damage here, and he's going to get 2 outposts up, which means Red is really going to struggle. Only has the 2 caravels on the water. Then perhaps he'll build a dock, and perhaps we'll see some kind of Blue pushing Red on the water, going to remove some of these fish from the map and kind of damage his boom as well. Another outpost going up down here to stop Red from gathering up here. Perhaps we'll see Blue take the water as well. Does he have schooners? He does have schooners in his deck, so it is possible that he can go on the water and gather from whales, but I don't think he will. At the moment, we just see him being very aggressive and pushing out with this. Obviously, he has a military advantage. His score, I think, has been higher. At the moment, though, it's very, very even, despite Red having to spend out on mills and such, which obviously aren't a great investment. Obviously, when you build a mill, it's basically, you know, it costs 400 wood. That's crazy, and it gathers way more slowly than fish or from huntable animals. But as you can see here, Red not doing a bad job despite all this. He's pushing out like a boss, trying to defend his base. But the Blue player here now got his market up, getting the hunting dogs there, getting the age 2 coin mine upgrade. So he's already got the age 1. He's got, I'm not sure about the wood upgrades, 2 more falconets on the way, lots of hussars on the way. Obviously, Red's unit composition is mostly strelets at the moment, and hussars do obviously a good job against these Red units. Just a constant fight going on, trying to bring down these culverins. We'll switch back to DarwinGeovany and see what he is up to. Lots of coin in there, and not a lot of food or wood. What are you going to spend this coin on Red? What do you have in your deck? No mercenary shipments. So obviously, mercenaries obviously cost 1,000 coin, and you can and a shipment, and it gets rid of the coin, and then you can use that coin effectively on a decent. But he does not have military unit shipments. We'll see what he does with the coin in a bit. I don't really think that is down to bad macro. It's just the fact that his food income is run out on the water. This obviously this outpost now shooting the fishing ships and destroying them. That one half hit points now goes down. Another fishing ship down. Just gathering coin on the water and lots of it. And it does not have the wood to build more mills at the moment. Obviously, though, the wood is kind of evening up now, but Blue, as you can see, really is Blue really is just winning here, pushing. Okay, so we'll take a look at their economies. Darwin has a 69 settler economy, giggity googly, and we'll take a look at MusketJr, who has a 50 settler economy. He has maxed out his economy. He cannot train any more settlers than that, and he also, in addition to 50 settlers, he has 1, 2, 3, 4 banks. Now sending the Bank of Rotterdam. He's also sent the Bank of Amsterdam, which means he can build 2 more banks. There's one over here. When that arrives, we'll see the next one go up. So he has 6 banks plus 50 settlers. Red's economy, though, obviously includes, we'll take a look at Darwin, 62, that includes his settlers and fishing boats, though. These 2 culverins bringing down these falconets like a beast, getting some very nice shots off, killing those 2 falconets. They were full HP falconets. Killing that is removing 1,000 resources from the game, which is the equivalent of 10 score points there. MusketJr losing a big advantage there, but see, what can you do versus culverins? They have such a huge range, and you know, losing the falconets there really, I think, meant the Blues push. You know, he can no longer push. He's deciding to retreat. Take a look at Musket, see what he's doing. Training more culverins. Culverins and falconets. Just culverins taking out other culverins. Falconets killing off these infantry. Sieging the buildings, really pushing out. But Blue, we can't forget, has a frigate on the water here, which is a very powerful, very nice advantage. Players like to ship these on the water because they have a special attack, which can pretty much instantly take out an artillery unit. And they do very good damage, and they have a huge range. So you can see, though, these culverins outrange the frigate, and they are now attacking it. But the frigate getting out of there doesn't want to die, so going to run away. But this, you know, obviously it can move around to over here, stops wood gathering, and stops, you know, forward buildings over here. losing some skirmishes there. I think blue will get out of there at any moment now. Yes, okay, so MusketJr focusing on his economy now, really obviously getting the circular saw upgrade there. He sent both the Bank of Amsterdam and Rotterdam, and he's built 2 banks here. He's now building with his explorer the trading post. Obviously has complete map control along this side, has a dock here. Perhaps we'll see a frigate from this in any moment now to try and, you know, kill off some of these boats. Yes, there it is. I called it. 1 frigate. Obviously, going to pop out there. Going to obviously force red back on the water. Red does have a frigate of his own, plus 1 caravel. I guess he lost 1 to this outpost. There's no way red can push the dock, though, because these 2 outposts would easily bring down the frigate. He needs a bit more of a force, but obviously blue still wants to cause some problems, and red still needs the frigate to defend. But over here, blue coming back now has some more military. As I said, he's focusing on his economy. He has complete map control along this side, so he can just get the trading route and upgrade it. And obviously that's another income of resources. More Reuters on the way. Has another shipment. What will his next shipment be? I imagine it will be either religious freedom or the only remaining fortress okay, so infantry combat, but he's sending religious freedom from the home city, which is the advanced church upgrade. Okay, so blue retreating again. Perhaps he'll hop in the frigate to, you know, get his units to safety, or he can get the units inside the boat and then deliver them across the other side, and they won't take any damage whilst they're retreating. Going to lose a culver in there. That's not what's happening. Red really pushing out his economy, really coming to fruition here. Done a nice job at defending, and has the, you know, the economy to really push back now and push out and perhaps win the game. But at the moment, the score is very, very even. Obviously, we'll talk about religious freedom from the church. You obviously, when you build that church, you now, once you have sent religious freedom, you have access to 2 unique Dutch upgrades. The first one, I think it's called Coffee Trade, which decreases the speed of all of your units. Ironically, decreases the speed by 10%, but allows you to build 2 more banks, and obviously that's probably worth doing. And then there's another upgrade there which costs 1,000 coin, and it grants you, I forget how many Stradiots, but some Stradiots, which are cavalry mercenaries and are very powerful and can deal a lot of damage. Okay, so the frigate here. 2 blue frigates on the water. That is enough to push out, possibly, you know, push on the land here as well, kill off this blockhouse, and we could probably push red back. That town centre on the coast. Town centres also have 100 anti-ship damage and 40 range. And, well, obviously, town centres are much more difficult to bring down compared to a blockhouse, so that's a nice way to defend yourself. 2 frigates there. Hasn't spotted these 4 boats, but blue could easily bring these boats up here and kill them off. Red coming down here with Oprechniks and cavalry archers. Perhaps he was intending to use the Oprechniks' high siege damage to quickly ninja and kill off these 2 outposts. As you can see, one is kind of low hit points there, but that's not how it turned out. Blue on the ball, bringing his units down here to defend this choke point. But red, clearly, you know, he was fighting in his base, and now he's pushing out, so a little bit more aggressive. Now, getting the frontier outpost upgrade here for blue. See, I don't see that upgrade very often, actually. It's not something you see, but on the when you're having outposts on the coast, and they're very, you know, you need these. They're very instrumental in protecting the coast, or in this case, being aggressive on the coast. Frontier outpost is a good investment, I guess. As he's upgraded the trade route as well, as we can see. MusketJr collecting XP, food, coin, all from these. We'll switch back to Darwin. Haven't looked at him in a while. Let's take a look at the shipments he's sent. Sent all of his Fortress Age shipments. Also sent obviously Boyers as well. That upgrade there does not have any more useful Fortress Age shipments, and the only shipments he can now send are in the Colonial Age. And obviously these are military shipments. Not so great there. They're not very good shipments. He could think about Industrial Age and getting that factory. He also has the Reformist Tsar, which is the Russian Advanced Church. But obviously there's only one useful upgrade in there in the Fortress Age. So I really think Darwin, you know, running out of, he has got Industrial, going to the Industrial Age with the War Minister here. Okay, so again, I don't off the top of my head know what the War Minister grants him. I'm tempted to say it's 10 musketeers, but I really don't know off the top of my head. You do not see players going to the Industrial Age in a 1v1 very often, nor do you see 27-minute 1v1s, and this one goes on. As you can see, this yellow bar is nowhere near at the end yet. So this game going on for a very long time. Okay, so blue building a dock here. I doubt, obviously, it's no point. He's not going to be able to build fishing ships here or anything, but it will repair his frigate, and he could possibly build another frigate here. Obviously, having a dock on the water means that you can You can, nearby docks repair any buildings that are low hit points. Blue pushing the water here, pushing red back. Red losing his, economy here. Blue steaming ahead, 361 score to 328, though considering that both their player scores are so high, that, that lead, 40-point lead, isn't actually as big as you might think it is. But, yes, here we see, this is where shit gets real. Now Red is now in the industrial age, and, what's he building? A blockhouse on the coast here. He's trained a frigate from this dock, and he's now trying to reclaim the water here. We have two boats fighting on the water, trying to get a little bit of, obviously, at that culverin, though. Blue has a culverin in the back, killing off that frigate. Red coming around the side with some military, and it's a huge, massive Strelitz, Oprechniks. The factory on the way. We see Guard Strelitz going up. That is a nice upgrade. Obviously, Strelitz, very, very cheap unit. He's also got the Home City upgrade and the Guard upgrade as well, giving them 30% attack and hit points. It means he'll have a very cheap unit, which has very, very reasonable stats. That's a nice one to mass. Very cheap, as I keep saying, keep emphasizing that. That blockhouse is probably going to bring down that frigate there. Unfortunate for Blue, but now neither player has any on the water, but Red clearly has the control of the area here with the blockhouse, which does anti-ship damage. Obviously, Blue did have an outpost, but it no longer exists. It's been destroyed. So, yes, we'll switch back to MusketJr, but we see a shipment available for Russia. We'll find out what that is later on. Two Falconets here. Looks like Blue clearly has the military advantage. Huge, massive Reuters there. Two Falconets. Going to bring down those Strelitz. Oprechniks here can bring down the house. But, yes, let's talk more about strategy. I want to look at MusketJr. What is he doing? Still training Reuters, training some culverins. Obviously has all 6 banks plus 2 more. I don't know if he's actually got 2 more. I don't know if he sent coffee trade. Yes, 2 more down here, 2 here, so 8 banks, all 50 settlers. The trading route upgraded. Hasn't sent schooners, so no point booming on the water. But at this point in the game, it's always possible. But the score, Blue leading the game here, but Red in the industrial age and has some very, we're going to see some interesting stuff. Looks like Blue has a lot of resources stacked up and is not training any units, which to me suggests he wants to go to the industrial age as well. What does he have? 2 factories in there. Factories obviously generate resources very quickly. And okay, so DarwinGeovany. What is going on? So he is sending the Reformist Hussar, and at that, I believe you get a Colmax upgrade from the Advanced Church, which costs 1,000 wood and grants you 9 Guard Dragoons. It's kind of like a mercenary shipment, and it's obviously that's very, very powerful. And I believe there is also another upgrade there. I forget what it's called, and it costs either 2,000 wood or 2,000 coin. I do apologize, but my knowledge of Russian in the industrial age isn't so great. But you do get, I believe, what is 30 Guard Hussars or something crazy like that. Perhaps not that many, but a lot of Guard Hussars, and perhaps that's what we'll see. And then that really would be a game-changing thing if Blue is not expecting it. Blue really has to know what's going on, and Okay, and I'm back. So yes, we'll give away a little bit of the game here. MusketJr, he commented on the forums after this game, and he was pretty upset by the fact that he forgot about the Russian Advanced Church, and he was expecting obviously 2 cannons from the Home City, which in this case, DarwinGeovany does not have the 2 heavy cannon shipment, and that is not in his deck. So obviously that kind of does make the game play out a bit differently. Red using his obviously Oprechniks there just to bring down a trading post. What's going on down here? We see an outpost going up on the island here. So you've got a settler off on the frigate here, building out, going to gain some kind of map control here, because obviously both this side and this side will be protected by the frigate, by the frontier outpost, which has now a very large attack damage. Wow, 100 there. Actually hasn't changed, the anti-ship damage hasn't changed, but obviously the outpost does have more hit points. Okay, so we also see Guard Musketeers, Guard Strelitz. We're looking at Darwin here. We see counter-infantry rifling being researched at the arsenal, which increases Strelitz combat. It actually does, instead they do what is it here? We look at 15 range damage. That's crazy for a Strelitz. They're upgraded so much. They do 15 times 2 versus infantry, but with counter-infantry rifling, they do 15 times 3. So we see Red bringing this one down as well, but MusketJr really quickly rebuilding that one. 700 coin on the way, because really there is no useful shipments for them to send now. And he obviously, the Colmax being sent there, so we see a whole bunch of Guard Dragoons, and then we see Bashir Ponies, which does cost 2,000 coin, which I was right, I just see a whole ton of coin. Perhaps that's why he's sending 700 coin now, because he needs to replenish his coin stocks. Just seemed like a useful thing at the time, but where are they? Here they are. Oh, here they are over here. A lot of exactly 17, so not 30, that would be too crazy, but they have the same stats as a guard hussar, and he's got, you know, 9 guard dragoons, 17 guard hussar, and oh my goodness me, MusketJr has a lot of falconets down there, well, a lot of artillery in general, and it's just going to get absolutely destroyed. Skirmishes there, he has got the guard skirmisher upgrade there as well. Guard skirmish is going to go down to all of these cavalry. Reuter's now coming in from wherever they were to try and kill off some of the cavalry here. Obviously they are good against cavalry, but MusketJr knows he can't fight that, getting out of there, and this really looks like the turnaround point here. We see red has a score of 516 score points, blue 375, but we have to remember, obviously, when you send Kulmax and the Hussar, it actually researches guard dragoons and guard hussars for you, so you actually get a whole bunch of score from those upgrades, which obviously you're never going to use again, because you can't actually train hussars or dragoons when you're playing as Russia. You just get these shipments and those units, obviously increasing the score as well. So that score is obviously inflated more so than it probably needs to be, but either way, it's just so far ahead of Musket, and that just seems to be the turning point, that advanced church. Such a close game here. We see the factory wagon being sent from blue. We'll take a look at Musket, not really searching around. Carabinier Reuters, which is the royal guard upgrade for Reuter. Keeping them very, very nice stats, very respectable. Red now pushing down to the south here. What's going on over here? We see frontier outposts, you know, still can't push through. Building more and more outposts on this island, restricting Red's fishing operation. Looks like that was being attacked by a few musketeers, but the skirmishers dealing with that. We see Red building his own trading post here, some Strelets sieging that one down, but we'll look at this fight, which is probably where most of the viewers are like, why aren't you looking at the fight? Well, here I am, I'm looking at the fight now. But lots of Reuters there, good choice, because he wants to kill off the cavalry. Those things are going to deal mad damage. He does have, MusketJr has 2 factories. I do not know what they're configured to, but most likely, well, whatever resource he needs. But yes, okay, it looks like he's kind of pushed him off, but it's not going to last long, because we see more musketeers coming in from Darwin. Take a look at Darwin again. Obviously, Oprichnyk's being sent. Lots of musketeers queued up, finally getting this coin upgrade. Did not need the coin upgrade, to be honest, because he had, obviously, most of his coin income was from Wales, so it would have been a waste of resources, but now he's gathering from coin mines as well. But as you can see, lots of guard musketeers on their way from the forward blockhouses here. Well, from his blockhouses. Oprichnyk's just running around the map with their crazy siege damages, finishing off, dispatching lots of buildings, and causing issues for Red. But Blue still in the game here, bringing it back for him, 430 score to 551, clawing his way back, doing, you know, quite well here, despite the being surprised by the Bashir ponies, and the Kulmax hasn't ended the game just yet. For DarwinGeovany, we see the carronade upgrade from, I believe it is the dock, yeah, and we see armor plating, which increases the hit points and attack of boats. These 2 upgrades. See advanced trading posts being sent from the Russian player. As I say, at this point in the game, there's really not a lot of shipments left to send, which are particularly useful. So advanced trading post going to get him. Obviously, you can build these. It does make them cheaper. Making them cheaper isn't really the issue here. It just gives them more hit points when that arrives. It also gives them a ranged attack. Okay, so all MusketJr. are walking your skirmishes into Darwin's units, now trying to get away, but unfortunate miss micro there. Perhaps he walked and didn't realise that where they were going, and losing a lot of skirmishes just needlessly there. Unfortunate mistake from MusketJr. And obviously Red has the clear military advantage, 200 score points in the lead. Obviously Blue does have 2 factories up, which is obviously going to grant him a nice amount of resources coming in. We see frontier blockhouse going up for the Russian player. Still lots of musketeers being trained. We'll switch back to MusketJr. What is going on here? We see guard hussars going up, obviously in a 1v1. In a team game, you're usually only expected to mass 1 unit, and then maybe you switch later on, but obviously each player focuses on 1 unit, upgrades 1 unit line, and obviously each other's units complement each other. But here in a 1v1, he's having to, every player has to train, you know, every unit that they need, and obviously they need all of the upgrades, so these expensive upgrades having to be researched to keep up competitively military-wise. So you see the Stadthalter upgrade, I did not notice this. Dutch having musketeers on the field, 30 musketeers. Obviously, now that he sent this a while ago, religious freedom was sent a long time ago, but religious freedom grants him an upgrade at the church, which is only usable in the industrial age. It costs 2,000 coin, similar to the Bashir ponies, but you get 30 guard musketeers, and obviously that's very powerful, and can help you out quite a lot. We see fortified outpost for the blue player here as well. Okay, and I'm back. Obviously, fortified outpost. The next upgrade looks like a bombard tower from Age of Empires 2, dealing mass damage. These things obviously looks like they were cleared up on the water. Red did a nice job there, finishing them off. But yes, okay, so as blue now looks like he has the military advantage with the musketeers and now training the units. There's plenty of coin there, but have we? I don't know if we've seen the Stradiots from his home city yet. I don't think we have. We see mortars being trained as well. These are another artillery piece that can only be trained in the industrial age, and obviously mortars do very, very high siege damage. They cannot target units. They do no damage to units, but they are very strong against buildings, and we'll see them, and boats. They're good against boats too. Down here, we see Darwin pushing Blue's base, whilst Blue is up here. He's now sieging the trade route, trying to bring it back for him. Obviously that, perhaps he's going to try and kill off these trade routes and rebuild it himself. But yes, down to the south of the map here, next to this fortified outpost, obviously Blue going to lose all of his hussars there, unfortunately, because of these Kalmaks. They do great damage. Obviously their dragoons, kind of like the Reuters, do bonus damage against the cavalry. Hundreds of Strelets here, though obviously Blue does have this this frigate doing a little bit of offshore damage, which is kind of nice. But I am going to play fast now. Play the game fast because it is coming to a close, and as you can see, well, DarwinGeovany, will switch back to him, has reached the Imperial Age, and that means we're going to see these guard musketeers and his guard strelets will be upgraded to Imperial strelets and Imperial musketeers, which have a 50% damage, as we can see here. Imperial musketeers, that'll increase their attack and damage by 50%, which is absolutely crazy, and there's just no way with the score gap that Blue will be able to keep up. I mean, we look at Darwin right now, he's sitting at always around 190 population. He can't really make any more units than that, obviously, because 200 population is the maximum population, and then obviously he's just going to have tons of resources stacking up, whereas Blue, not quite at 200 population, only 140 pop there, whereas Red is constantly almost at max pop, so he's having lots of resources stack up which he can't spend. Obviously then enough resources to get to the Imperial Age, get those Imperial upgrades, and then just there's just no way. I mean, Blue just can't keep it up. He can't sustain. I mean, Red's economy is just so much further ahead of his now. Clearly you can see by the score gap. We'll look at the post-game graphs and I'll show that in a moment, and those powerful military units constantly in his base with the crazy upgrades. Look at this all resources gather. We see Blue obviously a little bit further ahead early on, that 4-bank fast fortress strategy giving him a nice advantage, pushing out, and we'll also look at the score gap. We'll look at score. Here is, you see Blue leading the early game mostly, even up until they reach the Industrial Age, leading the game. Still very balanced though, but then upon reaching the Industrial Age, Red really does take off and just seem to, obviously with the release of Kalmaks and the Bashir ponies. But we go back to all resources gathered. Here it is. You can see Red takes over about the 15-20 minute, well, as you approach the 20-minute mark, and is just then starts to get more and more further ahead, and it just means he can outmass Blue and just do more damage. And eventually, as we see, he reaches the Imperial Age, whereas Blue cannot afford to do that, and then he can upgrade his units much further beyond Blue. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys. You've been listening to Interjection from youtube.com/interjection videos, and I upload daily Age of Empires 3 GGs. Thank you very much for watching again.